Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are from. Thank you for taking the time off your Sunday to be with us today. My name is Katherine. For those who don't know me, I'm a Singaporean living in France. I'm actually working for a company where I head the finance department, and Chinese metaphysics basically is my passion. In this webinar, I have friends, colleagues, family, and people whom I've never met before, from several countries, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, US, India, France, Poland, Germany. All right. It is really great to have you with us today. We are going to cover many, many, many topics, and we'll probably not have the time to pick up any questions. So if you do have any questions, please drop me a message and I'll get back to you after the webinar, or you can type it on the chat and I'll look at them after the webinar. For those of you who have seen, right, I have a second webinar in French 2 hours from now. So one of the reasons why I cannot pick up all the questions, right? So you'll be surprised as well that this webinar is nothing like the typical Feng Shui and Chinese Bazi reading that you get from the old temple uncle, okay? So sit back and relax and have fun listening. This session will be recorded and I will post it on YouTube later so that you can rewatch at your convenience. So don't worry if you miss any part, you can always rewatch. Not sure if you have already printed out your Bazi chart. If not, you can always do it later, no worries. The link to print the Bazi chart actually is in the invitation that I've shared, okay? So you have everything you need, not to worry, all right? So that said, let's get started. Maybe let me just introduce a bit on why. Let me share a story. Let me share a story in how I got interested in Chinese metaphysics. Okay, I bet even my friends and family don't even know when and why I started having interest in Chinese metaphysics. Okay, it all started about 18 years ago when we bought our house in France. And the house that I'm living in right now, we are so happy. Okay, we are so happy here when we bought the house. It was an old house in which we had to do some house renovation. Okay, so we teared down all the walls inside and renovated the entire place. We also did heavy work and started digging, and we dig in the west sector to gain access to the cellar. So we cut down a whole row of hedges, and guess what? A series of misfortunate events started happening. Well, good thing is I started a new job, which was good, but I had 2 car accidents. I think, Kevin, you don't even know this, right? I had 2 car accidents within the same year. One in January where it was cold and slippery and icy because it snows in France. And other was in June, hot summertime, but I got 2 car accidents. And then, of course, I broke the 2 cars. So we have to fight with the insurance company to get the cars repaired. And we even have to sue the renovation company because they did such a sloppy job in our house renovation. Okay. And also one of the not so good thing as well is, my husband lost his job. And I also ended up with a miscarriage. So that went on for more than a year or so, close to 2 years. It was terrible the first 2 years, moving to this house. Then I told my husband, I said, let's go back to Singapore for Chinese New Year, as I really needed some positive vibes from my family, and I really, really miss Singapore. So it's not easy, to live in a foreign country. That was 18 years ago, and it's still difficult today. Much easier now, and France is my second home, right? And home is basically where you want it to be. So we went back to Singapore for Chinese New Year, and we got invited to a friend's place. I think she's with us today. Sani, are you here with us? Let's see if Sani's here with us. Yeah. Okay, anyway. So at Sani's place, I saw this little frog, a metal frog with a piece of coin in the mouth. And it was placed underneath a sofa. And then, I'm curious like a cat. I started asking her questions. And then she told me, oh, this is actually a feng shui ornament and blah, blah, blah. And this is how how it all started, So I started buying feng shui books from a very famous master from Malaysia, and started my learning from there. And this famous master at that time, she basically has the same background as me. She's in the finance industry, very well known. And she left the finance industry and she set up her own Chinese and metaphysics business where she got sick and tired of the corporate world. All right. So when I came back to France, what I did was I wanted to do something for my home feng shui. So I flew a feng shui master from UK who studied with her, this master from Malaysia. And I had this UK person to do my house feng shui. So when he came, I explained to him what we did as a renovation in the house. And guess what? The first thing he asked me is, did you have issues with metal objects, lower part of your body, and if you got entangled with legal issues? I was like, wow, how did you know? And my jaw just dropped. And his reply was simply because you did heavy digging and renovation in your house, where star 3 was. You disturbed the star 3. There are consequences when you disturb the notorious star 3. I'm like, okay, so, he helped us with our home feng shui. And from then on, I get an annual feng shui update from him where the bad stars are, so that I make sure I do not do any work in those areas and not to go through all the hell again that like I went through before. Okay. When we do need to do work in those areas where the bad stars are, we will pick the right dates and according to our home feng shui to do this work. But many of you here may or may not know, we can apply what we call the Great Sun formula. And this is when the Great Sun arrives, all evil subsides. So we still can do renovation in areas where the bad stars are on certain dates based on our home feng shui. Okay. Since then, everything is just great. We are living in this house, happy. We get along well. Of course, we fight from time to time, just like any family. But I would say we are doing great. Our careers are progressing, looking good. My daughter is doing well, very gentle and well-behaved, listens to us most of the time. A bit difficult now because she's going through her teenager time, but really, we don't have much to complain about her. All right. So for my personal experience, I've seen what feng shui can do, both good and bad. Then I told myself, the UK guy, he's getting old. He's about, in his 60s, 70s at that time. So I said, okay, what happened if he's no longer around? Who's going to do my home feng shui for me? So I started, saying, okay, I really, really must master this art. And I did. Not only did I learn feng shui, I also pick up 八字, which is actually Chinese astrology. And I picked up Qi and also date selection because they're all interrelated. Okay. So basically, 八字 helps me understand myself and those around me, friends, family, people that I work with. I know my personal strength and weaknesses. It also helps me understand my husband and my daughter better and the people whom I work with. Oops, please go on mute. Okay, let's see if I can. Please go on mute.
Pero siya naman nagbibigay ng lahat ng information. Tsaka binigyan niya ako ng landline.
Whoever is speaking, let me see.
Nagtiwala na lang ako.
Ilan araw? Bilis.
September 7th pa eh. Ano na? 10 na. Kanina lang na po niya.
I see the others. There you go.
Mabilis lang. Yan lang po.
Okay, mute all. Yes.
Iba lang po yan.
All right. Okay. Okay, they are muted already. All right. Can you still hear me? Yeah. Okay, right. Let me just remove this as well. Okay, so going back to where I stopped. Let's see. Right. So where was I? Yeah. So 八字 helped me, understand myself better, people around me. With this information about 八字, right, I can actually better get along with them by adjusting how I communicate with them. It allows me to bring out the best in myself and the others, how to motivate, in fact, my team, and also how and when to sell my ideas to my bosses and when to ask for a promotion. I've got promoted twice in the last 2 years and 5 times in the same company. All right. And basically, Qi helps me make better decisions in my life and even at work. while date selection helps me pick the good dates for important meetings. I have always this little calendar in which I pick, the good dates for important events. All right. So, yes, I've integrated Chinese metaphysics into my daily life. By the way, we are also renovating our house to tap on the positive energy of period 9 that will start on the 4th of February in 2024. This time, the renovation will be smooth sailing, as I know where the negative stars are and know how not to piss them off and avoid the series of unfortunate events that happened to me 18 years ago. That said, my real main objective is also to transmit and share this ancient knowledge from our ancestors to those who are interested, especially in France. Okay, now that you have known all about me, my little story, I promise you a special guest. So we do have a special guest with us. He's also my mentor, right? So Kevin, all yours.